we'll get started here just a little bit, let people join, get settled. For those who are watching on recording, hi to you too. Thanks for checking this out. We're going to be a lot of great tips and tricks that Meg will walk you through. She'll be sharing her screen to go over some of our new dashboards and just some other various tech topics as well, which will be really helpful. There's also a slide deck that Meg may share from time to time with some resources. We'll show that at the end to make sure that you can screen grab that. We also will be sharing the deck afterward. So if you can't get anything in the moment, all good. Like I said, this is being recorded, so you can always go back and watch the recording if you miss a step. And then we will share the tangible links. We'll share some items in the chat, but also we will share things afterward via email as well. Hey, Carol, thanks for joining. Hope you're doing well. And really, really great things here. And again, to everyone that's watching on recording, we appreciate it. And thanks for being a partner.
Okay, let me just share my screen. And so today we were planning to talk about like a bunch of tech topics. We wanted to keep it a little bit like of a mystery, as well as like, cover like more than just like one topic. Last time we covered the row level security, and I think a lot of people were really interested in that. So I hope that today's topics that I've picked are also interesting to people. We're just going to cover some techniques in Looker Studio, a new thing called app script that you might have or might not have seen before. I have not coached any of my customers on this, but I just wanted to kind of like give a high overview to see to kind of tell people and nudge them that, here is something that you can also use. And then using Google Maps and Looker Studio. So these are like the three main topics. The first thing I wanted to go through was kind of like go through the reports that are new in our report library. I think all of you have the report library link in our Slack community. And, I think even like Josh will send it in the chat now. So let me start with this culture survey dashboard. This was a dashboard that was actually built by Alpha Public Schools. And I found it like interesting to put it up in our report library as an inspiration dashboard. I want to also like inspire schools to use or if they don't already collect like survey data, then they can start collecting it in a similar manner, get surveys out to students using Google Forms or SurveyMonkey, and then use those collected surveys to like kind of analyze social emotional learning for students. This dashboard, as you see, is intended for school and network leaders. And then it's basically to, cover safety, belonging, and social emotional learning competency. Some of the key questions are, what is the daily experience like for students? How safe do our students feel? Like, is this a place that they feel like they belong? And what can we improve for them? So let me cover this one. So overall safety, this page of the dashboard basically talks about how safe do our students feel at school. And this is all dummy data. This is always remember that the report library dashboards have dummy data in them. Nothing is like taken from actual students. There's no personal information included. So in this, you can see that overall safety is 93.2%, and it's 32.2% higher than that of California State. Then this graph over here is how safe do students feel at different times of the day. So you can during class, during dismissal, arrival, lunch, transitions, recess, looks like they feel like most least safe that in during recess. Probably it's when they interact with their peers and there is bullying and whatnot. So they feel they have to look after themselves. So they feel a little unsafe. And then what about the locations? Do they feel more safe in offices, classrooms, and bathrooms? It seems to be the least safe according to this chart. This is harmful behaviors. So how often have students seen or heard students from this school engage in harmful behaviors like saying mean things to each other, causing physical harm, or bringing drugs and using tobacco products at school? So these are some of those numbers. Then how can they asked how can they help the students feel more safe at school? So they also gave them options. And then basically students felt more supervision and better peer relationships is one of the things that can be be improved most. Belonging is another important factor. They need to feel like they belong there, and the reason for them feeling that is important for them to see them at school every day. So if you see like the highest like percentage would be like, I have a good friend at school, so I look forward to go to school every day, or it's important for me to go to college to get a better career. All of those things can be measured here. Another important thing that I felt in this survey was adult relationships. I feel it's very important for like each student to have a strong connection, so that like they can be role models, or like even that they feel safe going to. Sometimes they don't have a safe environment at home, so yeah, like it seems like homeroom teacher is someone they feel like the most safe with, and then like going down, this is also like something that they interact less with, so sometimes they don't think about these academic counselors or after school staff and all of that. Social emotional learning competencies, like how do they feel in terms of like social emotional skills? Do they feel more empathetic, or do they have more problem solving? So these are things that we can use from this survey to analyze how our students are doing. So this is one dashboard. The other dashboard that I'm going to show is called enrollment tracker. So this one is basically helping us like track our enrollment through the year, through the school year. I think this is important to see at like different times of the year, how was our enrollment looking? Is there any correlation that can come out of like why there are certain students leaving, say end of semester, or like are they coming in more in the middle of the semester? What's happening? We can try to like gauge that. We can have it by school. This is for a district, so you can have it by school. You can filter using these. You can like cross filter, say that, oh, I want to see 10th grade for Webster Academy, what is the enrollment through the year? You can like filter by race and ethnicity, then also ELLs and like disabilities, everything you can filter and see how whether homeless or like military, gifted and talented, everything can be like used. This is just a sample dashboard. Then we can see how many total new student entries were there and how many withdrew. These charts can be used further to calculate attrition in the school. This is dummy data, so you don't see as much of like people leaving and coming in, but in an actual school you would see a lot of like fluctuation every day, or like every week. And then here are some withdrawal reasons. Why did like people who exited exit? And like you can like further analyze this. This is the one. And then one more dashboard that we featured this time is the early warnings dashboard. So this dashboard, I will admit, is a work in progress because it takes me time to actually build historical dummy data and mimic data that is actually relevant to schools. So I try to build what I had with the data we have. So here you can see this page focuses on track and off track student. The early warnings dashboard is supposed to help you like create these groups or like focus groups whom you can like attend to or help early on in the year, rather than like wait for the state assessments and other later on, which like by the time it's too late you can't help as much. So this one has like each student, and then like their discipline incidents, their attendance, like the number of suspensions, how many total D's and F's they have. This is the total scored credits by the student. I've just made it at grade level. I like, for example, Abel Enriquez, I would like to add like how much how many credits they scored in 10th and 9th, so that for high school I have a total, and then I know the minimum required credits for high school, and then how many this student needs to graduate. Right now I've just kept it at grade level. I know it's difficult to define for schools, but also I think it is something that we worthwhile looking at, like, okay, for this grade, if they get an average of this, then they would be on track to graduate at the end of like 12th grade or something like that. So this can be sorted, like it has a heat map, so you can see like who are like on track, off track, and can like on the verge of like either going either way. And then you can also like see with discipline incidents if that is affecting them. Then here we have like an overall overview of like by grade. You can see like the students in high school are the ones who need most credits to graduate, which is like more important to focus on if they have to go to college or finish their schooling. And then here we have by race and gender and the IEP and stuff like that. Another important factor is attendance. So here we have like, oh, it's going to take some time to load. It gives you a lot of different views by grade, by gender, absent and on the verge of like absent chronically, by ethnicity, by IEP status, by lunch status. The same thing for behavior. Basically, slicing and dicing in every single way to kind of find in this table below, which would show like all the students listed. You can create all the selections you want using the filters and the charts, and then have that focus group at the end and customized in the way that you would like to look at it. I will just try to see if I can come back to this. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is actually geo analysis. So using student addresses to see what kind of like insights we can get. Looker Studio has like a super useful feature to integrate Google Maps. So I thought like let me explore this. Like all schools have student addresses, and I felt like this is something we need to like explore further. So I built like just like a demo dashboard. And I wanted to talk about like a few different ideas that I wanted to pitch to schools to see if they can use or they might already be using. So the way first, let me tell you how I set up. You just have to go to add a chart, and then there's like options here for Google Maps. So you can either select a bubble map or a filled map, a heat map, and a line map. So here I have selected for this a heat map. This kind of just tells me where all the students at my school are located. So I've used a lot of fake addresses that I got out of data sets online. So they're like spread apart a lot. Like you won't see a lot of correlation, but yeah, this is like the addresses I was able to use. And here you can like basically you can in the setup you have to choose like a location field. So that's where you get like the address field in. The addresses that I've used look like this, just like the street address, the city in the state, and the zip code. So that is the address I've used. You can put it in a Google sheet and pull the sheet in here using resource and manage added data sources, and then use that address. So but before you like go ahead and use the address, you would want to go to the sheet and find the address field, and then you would like want to convert that into a geo, like whichever is like appropriate. For this I just selected address. So you have cities and just postal codes or countries, continents, etc. So once you're done with that, it pulls in all the addresses over here. You have like so many options here. I've chosen like a map. You can also choose like a satellite view, so then it changes to this picture. And then even in that you have like heat map. You can make bubbles like I did in these three charts. And filled areas and line map are also another two options. Then here you have like roads, landmarks, and labels. So you can choose whether you want the roads to be there or not. Like let's zoom in. And then like if we want the roads, like do we want them how like transparent or how opaque do we want them? Same thing for landmarks. You can like make that go away. And then labels are like basically New York, and the city labels or the place labels. And then here you can like if you have like a bubble chart, you can always like see how transparent or not you want the bubble to be, or like the size also can be controlled. This is for the size, this is for the transparency. You can like choose it to be 100% like opaque or less opaque. Or and then you have other options for the map where you can choose like dark, this is dark, and then this is silver, and this is standard. So these are like different options that you can see. And I think one of the coolest features is also like this a pegman feature where you can actually like drop the person, and then you get to see like the street view. You can like expand the screen. Okay, and the student stays in the middle of a forest, but yeah, so you can actually go look at the neighborhood that the student comes from. This one doesn't have a home. I don't know where this one stays, but yeah, these are like those fake addresses I got. um Hold on, let me just escape this. So I think that is a cool feature. Now these graphs mostly capture like where the student volumes are. So here it's overall all the students enrolled in the school. This one is like where are all our English language learner students coming. You can zoom in and out. Here we have like disability students, like where are they coming from. Then what is our gender distribution like. Here I've like what I've done is you can in the setup you can like add like color dimension. So here you get like male in one color, female in one color. You can also use this in like size. This one size doesn't make sense, but if you had like some other volume number that you wanted to superimpose over these bubbles, you could get those, and I've used those later and I'll talk about them. So here I've this first page was just like how to use maps. The second one is like an idea I'm throwing out there for like attendance. So how does attendance factor in based on like the student's address or location? Like here I've tried to see like where are most of the tardy students coming from, and then in the size I've also added number of absences, so you can see tardies and absences. So if like I've created bins for my tardies, if they're less than 3 tardies, then I've like done the light blue, and more than 4 tardies is dark blue. And the bigger dark blue means that there are also more absences as well as tardies, and the smaller one means there are tardies but the absences are low. So that's how you can use size as well as color dimension together and see multiple things in like one map. Now like one of the things I found interesting was like I went to my sheet and then I was like, what is the commute time or the distance to school? Like, how does that factor into, tardiness? Is it like students coming from a certain area have more commute time, are tardy, or what is it? Like, what is the correlation? So, like, since I mentioned before, using dummy data, it's hard to see correlation. But once you actually use your data and you start seeing correlation, it's easier to dig deeper. Here, obviously, this doesn't make sense. I don't think like, students go 141 miles to school. But the way I did this is like where I used AppScript. So AppScript is an extension in Sheets that you can use for free. Here, what I've done using AppScript is created a function called Google Maps duration. So this function basically calculates like the duration from this address where the student is at to this address, which is like the school's address that I've mentioned. So it calculates how much time, and the Google distance function calculates how much is the distance. The way I did that is you go to extensions, go to app scripts, and here you can like add a script. When you're just starting off, you can like open a new script, and this is the code that I got online, and then I was able to just like paste it in here and it worked. What it does is it says I'm going to define a function called Google Maps distance, which uses origin address, destination address, and the mode of like commute, whether it's walking or by bicycle or driving. So you can choose the mode. And then what it does is there's this inbuilt tool by Google called maps.new direction finder. So then we're like telling maps new direction finder that the origin is here, like we're setting origin, destination, mode, so get directions for that and find like the distance. And then if there is no route found, just throw an error saying no route found. So I did the same for this is for distance, and I did the same for duration, and then I was able to calculate these. I just pulled up that function. I selected the cell in which I have my data, and then it was good to go. So I used this as well into my dashboard. Here you can see. So I like what I would ideally do with actual data is I would create buckets like, okay, students who live 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away, or like 5 to 10 minutes away, 10 to 15 minutes away, and then kind of bucket them. And then I'll be able to like select one of these, and then I'll be able to like scrutinize like the map data or like tardies and the number of unexcused absences from where they're coming. Or I can use distance, whichever, like both of them work. One of the schools that I like heard, they use this to kind of see if there are two students coming from the same area, and like one has more absences and tardy events and the other doesn't. Is there a way to create like a buddy system where you can like pair the two students and then make like a plan for them to come to school together, or basically buddy them and partner them up so that we can reduce like chronic absenteeism or absenteeism issues. So I think that was a good idea that can be used by schools. So this was attendance and commute. The third page I've made for just for ideas is grades and community. Here you can look at this, and I have like put numeric bin buckets. So imagine that you have like numeric grades from 0 to 1, and what I've done is I've made like three buckets. Blue is like higher than 0.75. This is zero point 0.5 to 0.75, and this is less than 0.5. So basically, the ones that are like in pink are not doing well, so we would like want to focus on that. So we here again we can like just select by grade as well. We could have grades here and then filter by that. So that would also be an option. We can include discipline incidents. I haven't included it here, but we could see discipline incidents also in the chart. And then there is in our starter pack, we also give like a description. I know, Carol, we are still working on yours, but the description basically kind of tells like, okay, is there like students with like drug discipline incidents, fights, or what are the different things? We can probably zoom into a particular area and find out that students coming from here are being affected more. Another thing that we could do is have community resources where like you can list parks, libraries, community centers, or whatever is in the different zip codes that your students live in. And then we can try to like see how that like correlates, like, okay, do like does a good community, how much does it matter, or how are some students with none of these facilities also doing well? Like try to get more insight so that we can find some actionable data, or like some kind of like information through that. So this is what I was thinking for geoanalysis. I'm happy to get more ideas. I'm planning to make this dashboard into a proper dashboard and put it up on the report library in the coming quarter. So any ideas that you get while you're working on your data are appreciated. Please like set up some time with me. I can help you like also like dig deeper with your school's data. So that would be really exciting. And then I think like the next thing, I'm going a little fast, but yeah, I think the next thing I wanted to cover is just an overview of how to use Google Analytics to actually measure how like this dashboard is being used by the end users, whether it's your network leaders, teachers, or parents, whoever are using it, how much are they using it, and what is like what are they finding interesting. So I have included the steps to using I've also included these codes that I just spoke about, but for Google Analytics, I have like these steps that you can use to actually set it up. These are just like really simple. All you have to do is go to analytics.google.com, sign in with your Google account or a new Google account if you don't have one. It should be free. And then you can click on start measuring, follow like the few instructions, and then I can show you how to set it up after you have opened the account. So all you need to do is this. I've already set up one. My account is set up. So I'm just going to try to show you how to set up a new one. So you go to like admin, and then you create a property. You call the property whatever you like, and then say next. Here you can select which industry. I'm going to choose job and education. And then what is your business size? And then what are you going to like use this Google Analytics for? I would say most of us want to use to see how people use our dashboard. And then next is you can choose a platform. Here for a dashboard, we have to choose web. And then what I simply need to do is go to one of my dashboards, right? And then in the share option, the link that we use to share with people, that's what we need to copy. And we need to copy that here. And since they already have the HTTPS thing, I'm going to take this out. And then I'll call it test stream. And then I'll create a stream. And once that's done, it like creates a measurement ID for you and tells you like instructions to install this. It's very simple. All you have to do is copy this measurement ID and go to your like dashboard, which you copied the link for. I Oh my God. Sorry, the Zoom keeps interfering with my tabs. Okay, go to enrollment dashboard. And then here you would go to file, go to report settings. And this is where you have to paste that ID. Okay, just paste that here and then say that it's done. And then that's all. Like once you do that, it should be set up. And then what you can do is say next. And it says you successfully created a property, but keep in mind it takes 48 hours before your property starts collecting data. That's like for everybody. So only after 2 days, you will be able to see like, views or clicks on your dashboard. So then you just go to home and here is how it will look. You will have the number of users, number of new users, how much time were they engaging with your dashboard in the last 30 minutes, how many users were there. And then if you want further insights, you click on reports. And here you get to see like by country, who are the users, and then how user activity over time in 30 days, what was like, how was the activity. And then you can even like measure engagement by page. Like we have pages to our dashboard, page 1, 2, 3, like I just showed you for that demo dashboard. So you can even like check that, and there is so many things you can set up. Even you can create your own insights that are useful for you. So there's a lot to explore here. So I have included those steps here. You should be able to like pretty easily set it up. After 48 hours, just go in there and look at what data is like getting collected. Maybe give it an extra day because somebody needs to use it after 48 hours to like start collecting the data. So that's all I have for today. I don't know if I was too fast. Please let me know if I have to like go back and talk about anything. Happy to do so.
No, Meg, that was fantastic. It was perfect. And as Meg said, we have a few minutes left. So if there's any questions, you can throw them into the chat and Meg will get to them. But I know those who are with us, all of you, you get to work with Meg one-on-one as all of you use her coaching talents and services. So if any of this is of interest or you'd like to learn more, please reach out to her and you can bring it up in a coaching session. We will also, and Meg just put her coaching, her Calendly coaching link that you can schedule time with her if you haven't already done so into the chat. Like I said, we will be following up here in the next 24 hours with this slide deck. So you have some of these resources. Some of them were already thrown into the chat. We will follow up again so you have it there tangibly so you always can refer to that document. And if anything else comes up, as always, reach out to either Meg or myself. We feel really fortunate that you all joined us today. And for those watching, thanks for taking time to watch out some of the amazing things. This is just the tip of the iceberg of some of the things that you get when working with Landing Zone, but also working with Meg specifically. She is just incredibly talented. So if anything comes up or any other ideas that you have, we always love to hear those too. And stay tuned and look forward for the next announcement for our next Tech It Easy with our superstar data coach, Meg. And thank you all so much. And hope you all have a great rest of the week and weekend. And thanks for that note there, Carol. I really appreciate that. Thanks for the great ideas. Look forward to getting some of these running in the school year. Amen. And but for everybody else, again, thanks so much. We really appreciate your time. Have a great rest of the weekend. We will talk with all of you real soon. Thanks so much, Meg. And thanks, everyone. Have a great one.
Bye.